What you are seeing is part of an annual harvest festival in Swaziland called Umhlanga. The weeks-long celebration is the central holiday in a country that reveres tradition. Surrounded in three sides by South Africa and in the east by Mozambique, the tiny landlocked kingdom of Swaziland is home to just slightly over 1 million people. Dwarfed in size and regional influence by its neighbors, change comes slowly to the isolated country, and traditions like Umhlanga are well preserved. Unfortunately, change also comes slowly to other aspects of life in Swaziland. Criminal justice in the country is a dated, confused system in which individual rights and due process are often overlooked. Much of the confusion stems from Swaziland's dual court system, in which one court is rooted in traditional Swazi law and the other is based on modern Roman Dutch law. Buhle Dube is a law researcher and lecturer at the University of Swaziland. Working within this system, he has identified glaring abuses of justice and a need to transfer some cases to the modern and more diligent magistrate courts from the dated Swazi courts.
They are established by an Act of Parliament of 1950. Legal representation is not allowed in terms of the Act. Only customary rules, rules of customary law apply, which means your law of evidence does not apply.
In 2008, he was awarded a JusticeMakers Fellowship from International Bridges to Justice and a seed grant of $5,000 to help him in his efforts. While working for an NGO from 2004 to 2007, Mr. Dube also observed rampant abuse of suspects during their arrest and detention. To solve this problem, Dube began holding educational workshops targeting rural areas of the country and the volunteer police officers who patrol them. These community police officers have no uniforms, receive little to no training, and often resort to abuse and even torture in the line of duty. To assist in his efforts, Mr. Dube assembled a team of individuals committed to the goal of justice through education. Alfred Magagula is Dube's longtime friend and second in command.
We're not only highlighting the wrong things that they've done, but we're actually imparting some knowledge to them. We were actually teaching them the law as to what does the law provides for that particular scenario. So we were equipping these people as to how best they can control their action and how best they can do their work without doing all the wrong things.
For the rest of the team, Dube looked to the classroom and selected law students Gugu Simelane, Ngeti Dube, Sibusiso Nhlabatsi, and Phakama Shili to travel with him to workshops and make presentations.
My experience with Dube has been a fruitful one, I think, because I now know what's happening outside there. It's not like in class where you just sit with your books, you think all is well, you'll just answer whatsoever questions, but the problems that we've encountered out there has really changed and the way I think.
The team held 3 workshops in the summer of 2009, the first of which took place in the village of Ngwenya, near the western border with South Africa. The head of the community police attended the workshop in the village's drafty church on the cold Saturday morning. His secretary, Bhekie Dlamini, is hopeful that the information from the workshop will be applied toward the betterment of the community.
Yeah, I think we gained a lot, especially on the crime prevention part. We were able to get information like how can we arrest or what shall we do? How can we make sure that we bring the fugitives to book by not applying maximum force, things like that. So I think it has been so inspirational.
In addition to the community police, several other regional authorities were in attendance. Cindy Barbosa, head of the crime prevention unit for the Hhohho region, says, in addition to resolving problems, the workshop also brought a few to light.
It has actually identified a gap that we now have 2 factions of community police, those that have been trained, which surely you did see that they understood the system very well, and those that have not been trained.
The division between trained and untrained community police is something the JusticeMakers had encountered before and were prepared to address. During a trip to the south of the country, where crime rates are exacerbated by extreme poverty, the team identified another disparity, that of established community police and splinter groups who feel that the former are not effective. A member of parliament from the Lavumisa area facilitated a workshop in the rural village of Matsanjeni because recent events have made the problem violently apparent. In 2007, a man from the area was killed during his arrest for stealing a chicken, which community police say was the work of a splinter group.
Maybe he resisted arrest But being not trained, they used excessive force and the person died. So it is good to get training. Yeah. In as much as they are doing a great service, it's good that they do it properly.
But even the recognized community police resort to extreme measures to capture suspects and acquire evidence. The chairperson of the Matsanjeni Community Police claims that maximum force is sometimes necessary.
The law is theoretical and not always practical, and it causes a lot of problems. It helps us to get the evidence from the suspect, but the suspects are reluctant to cooperate. So that is why we tend to punishing them to get the evidence.
The following day, the team made their way to the village of Ngelani. Located in the Mazambizwe area, community police there express much of the same problems and frustrations as their counterparts in nearby Lavumisa.
We feel as community police that the law is protecting criminals. We know that for a person to be arrested, there has to be evidence, but when we apprehend a criminal and hand him over to the state police, we find that we are not called to give evidence.
Though there was noticeably more skepticism than in previous workshops, the team got through to the community police in the rural area, who have had persistent problems with livestock theft and have resorted to mob justice to combat the issue.
I think it's the interpersonal connections that we make with them, especially in delivering these topics to them. You know, we just let them say what they feel. And then after that, we try and deliberate about it, and then we give them the position of the law, we give them what they are supposed to do, and then at the end of the day, we reach consensus.
A lot of others have said that the justice makers have come to undermine our work, but through it all we have learned a lot. We have learned that you don't take the law into your own hands, and also when you are affecting an arrest, you are not supposed to punish a person. We also heard that it is only evidence that can be used to convict, and if there is insufficient evidence, a person can go scot-free. This we have to admit.
In addition to conducting workshops, the team also closely monitors the traditional Swazi courts. Using unwritten Swazi customs, these courts are known for fast trials and hasty unilateral verdicts.
Everything just happens so fast. The decisions are just taken so fast you don't even know what goes on. Whatever the court president says goes.
Swazi court president Ndumiso Dlamini says speedy trials are needed to avoid the backlogging that occurs in the magistrate courts.
Yes, we comply with section 21 of the Constitution, which says it must be speedy and fair trial. There's this principle in law which says justice delayed, justice denied.
In their haste, however, the Swazi courts often overlook justice, as they did with Hlengiwe Msibi. After being repeatedly stabbed in the head by a romantic rival in 2009, her case against her ex-boyfriend and her assailant was assigned to the traditional court and was heard by Mr. Dlamini himself.
During the day of the trial, the police officer gave evidence which was irrelevant to the trial, so that was corruption at its best. The only witness during the trial was the assailant's witness, which did not go well for me because my witness was not brought before the court. Even the knife was not presented as evidence, nor was the medical evidence brought.
After the hurried trial, Mr. Dlamini delivered the verdict.
The court president stated that if a person stabs you, you should stab them back. Hence, the accused was acquitted.
Observing the trial was JusticeMakers intern Sibusiso. He spoke with Ms. Msibi after the trial, and after reporting the verdict to Mr. Dube, the team decided to intervene.
We looked at the law. The law was not clear on what to do in that regard. So we wrote to the highest authority within the customary court hierarchy, asking them to order a review of that case. If that fails, we can then make an application to the High Court to take the matter out of the customary courts into a proper court system where the rights of the victim will be realized.
As of October 2009, the team is still working on the case and waiting for the medical report to be released from the hospital. But the Justice Makers do not wait idly, and they continue to scour the courts for abuses in the system. Their work with community police is also far from finished, and the team is currently planning another round of workshops throughout the country in the pursuit of justice and the establishment of human rights in Swaziland.
I'm concerned. I must admit that I'm concerned about Swaziland and how I wish to live in a democratic, free society where people will exercise their rights independently without that African, how can I put it, Africanalism compromising, or the traditionalists compromising the rights of people.
The term human rights has been deemed, has been labeled un-African in most African societies. My take on that is always, look, human rights are very African. If I violate you, I've violated myself. That's an African concept, Ubuntu. I should treat you with dignity. It is not termed in human rights, but it is the greatest human right ever.